but it affects everywhere because like desert, it will go to everywhere. Let me, at this point, advise the federal government, especially, on the distribution of federal resources. From the information available to us, it's like most of the national budget is now tilted to one direction in this country. Yesterday, I was to come by air. Unfortunately, my airline decided to shift our takeoff from 3 to 8 p.m. I had to come by road. From Abuja to Kaduna to Kano was ahead. Terrible, very bad road. And this is the road that was started many years ago, right from the beginning of the leadership of the 80s. Now we are told that there is a road now from the south-east. Let me say at this point that we support infrastructure anywhere in this country. But a situation where government is taking our resources and dumping it in one part of the country and other parts of the country are left just like that, I don't believe that is the right thing to do by the government itself. And this is the time for the government to change, to convince our people that the government is not just on one side of the country.
Thank you. And that was Rabi Musa Kwakwanto, former minister, former senator, former governor, and the former presidential candidate of the New Nigerian People's Party, recently talking about, in his own words, how the North have been marginalized, how resources of the country is being, used to favor a particular section of the country. By the way, it has been a rebuttal by the presidency and many supporters of the president to say that is fallacy. And what Rabi Musa Kwankwanso is saying is dangerous. Don't spread dangerous narrative just because of politics and all of those things. By the way, remember, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, there have been conversations that maybe the president is, he has been talking, with the same Rabi Musa Kwakwanso. And maybe conversation is still ongoing, maybe negotiations are ongoing, but he is quite a voice, not just a politician, he's a leader of the movement called Kwakwansia, and he's saying the North is being marginalized. Architect, your take on that?
Well, my take is when you take the feeding bottle from a child who has had like 3 feeding bottles and you remove one of the bottles, he feels malnourished. He feels you are not doing enough. When in actual fact, he's ordinarily entitled to only 1 feeding bottle. So we just had the era of a Muhammadu Buhari that everything was just about the Fulani. Muhammadu Buhari was a Fulani president, not even a northern president, because even some Hausas celebrated his passage, most unfortunately, which should not be. So, but that tells you how bad they felt about his rule. And here is a people that not only had a railway passing all the way through many northern communities, it went all the way to Niger Republic that the president then, Muhammadu Buhari, came originally from. And now you now see all of these things now being done, if at all, in other parts of the country. As far as he's concerned, he is marginalized because out of the 3 feeding bottles that he had, you have removed 1. And you have not even remembered to remove 1 more and still give to one who has absolutely nothing at all. There are other parts of this country that the railway has never been to at all or is not functioning. These are some of the things that should happen. Yes, you may argue that what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing is a continuation, but with other beneficiaries of the prebendary system of Muhammadu Buhari. So all of those critical offices that were occupied by Fulani people are now occupied by Yoruba people. Okay? Even if he's to pick from Kogi, he looks for a Yoruba man to pick from there. If he's to pick from Delta, he picks a Yoruba man from there. And so that is why somebody will now complain of marginalization. Bad governance is bad governance. What we had under Buhari was evil. And what we are sustaining under Bola Ahmed Tinubu is also evil. If Kwankwanso would be
evil, you have used that word repeatedly. Evil. How?
How could you make virtually everybody that is critical in certain offices come from your own, from amongst your people? Under Buhari, everybody was from the north. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now, everybody is from Yoruba land. That is evil.
That's not correct. Evil. Not everybody is from Yoruba land.
He's talking about majority.
I'm just saying critical offices. Don't let us go into start mentioning chief of this staff, chief of that staff, inspector general of police.
You are talking to facts this morning. That's why I'm saying that. There are ministers. Not all of them are from the south.
The director general of customs, where is he from?
Okay.
The inspector general of police, where is he from? And so many other offices like that.
Staff, yeah.
Now, when it was Buhari, where were they from? These are the things that we are talking about. And then you now make sure that everything is lopsided. And those are the things that they can see. And then when you talk of development on ground, I don't even know that development on ground, because the stealing, the people that are stealing our resources have just changed. The Fulanis that used to steal are not able to steal anymore. Some Yoruba people are the ones that are doing all the stealing. Is that what you mean by the North being marginalized, when we should be talking really about good governance for the larger majority of the people of Nigeria?
All right.
Look at, I think he made a veiled reference or direct reference to the this road from Lagos that is supposed to go...
The coastal road.
The coastal road.
To Calabar.
What have they done about that road? How many kilometers did they say that they have done?
About 30 or so.
30 kilometers. And if I remember coming here, and when I studied it at that time and looked at the figures, I saw that it will take about 40 years to complete that road at the pace that they have done thus far. And they are celebrating 40 years from now. Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be about 120 years. Will he be around to witness that dawn? Let us wake up and understand that what we are talking about. And these are the things that Kwankwaso is referring to.
All right.
When he should be referring to good governance all over the country. People should stop seeing themselves as regional champions. That's exactly what Muhammadu Buhari did when he was not yet president. When he went to Oyo State, when Lamadeshina was the governor, and he was fighting for the Fulanis alone. And that is what Kwankwanso is also doing right now. It should not be. What we should have is good governance everywhere. And that's one thing I love about Afenifere. And that's why we are misunderstood. They say, oh, we supported an Igbo man for presidency the other time, because we are not tribalists. We want good governance all over Nigeria, starting from Yoruba land. But we want that good governance to extend to the Igbo man, to the Fulani, to the Kanuri, to Hausa man, and to all their lands.
Quite a good, quite a laudable initiative there. I like your analogy. You talked about, the North, someone having 3 feeding bottles, then when one is taken away, they start crying foul.
That is it.
Still talking about northern Nigeria now.
And it is not about northerners. It is about northern politicians.
Yes, okay.
Because the real northerners are in penury. They are suffering. They are the almajiris on the streets. They are still begging. They are malnourished.
Now the patriots are talking about, constitution review and the clamor for creation of new states. Even more, the northern part of Nigeria are clamoring for creation of more states. Even currently, we have 19 northern states. Okay, we have more states. If you look at geopolitical zones, the north, you have some 6, 7. And we look at other zones. The southeast, I mentioned it here, having only 5 states, right from time being the least. So what do you think we can do to balance this issue? And how best do you think we can solve marginalization in Nigeria once and for all, so that no region, no geopolitical zone will be complaining that they are being marginalized?
A new constitution. In that new constitution, you are not going to put 774 local governments as you put them right now. Each region should create 1 million local governments each if they so desire and are able
they should
to
fund them.
Exactly. In fact, your parliamentarians going to the national level should be paid by your region. And if we have such regional governance, then...
Let's now see how many states they'll create for their region.
Exactly. So you can create as many states. Create 1 million states. Have 250,000 governors for them. It will not matter to the other region that has only 5 governors and 5 states. What would matter would be that the federating unit will be the federal government and the regions. So each region should therefore have its own constitution. This is what we had in the First Republic that I keep on referring to. And you remember that in the First Republic, the Western region had its own agent general in the United Kingdom and had its own consular office. In fact, it is the consular office of Western region that is now today's Nigeria High Commission to the United Kingdom. It was the Western region that first had a consular office in Saudi Arabia, not even the Northern region that had many Muslims amongst them and whose premier was a Muslim. Because right thinking by the premier of Western region, he was the first to start taking care of Muslim pilgrims to Saudi Arabia. So the regional government had a lot of powers. And you know, the regional government at that time was able to have sustainable development plans that many people will not even remember, that it was not Obafemi Awolowo that built Cocoa House. It was not Obafemi Awolowo that built the Obafemi Awolowo University. They were built by his successor, but it was part of the program that had been made, the long...
His initiative.
Yes, by Obafemi Awolowo. It was SLA Akintola that started Cocoa House in 1961 and completed it in 1965. Awolowo stopped being premier by 1960. So anything done after 1960 was not done by Awolowo, it was done by SLA Akintola. Obafemi Awolowo University.
62.
Yes. So it was built by SLA Akintola because the regions could have long-term regional plans and succession programs within themselves and relationship with the rest of the world.
I
that was enviable.
Yeah.
Listen, in the Western region at that time, Obafemi Awolowo was paying £100 minimum wage. The federal government was paying £65. The nearest region to Western region at that time, and that was because Obafemi Awolowo either had an influence over that region, was the Midwestern region that was paying £85 minimum wage.
Well,
and
we might have to continue
there was free education for Yorubas, Jukuns, Fulanis, Igbos, Hausas, anybody that was resident in Western Nigeria.
All right.
That was good governance. That was an Afenifere government.
All right.
Wow.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you, actually, because many questions to ask was the push by the patriot in which you are one to have a brand new constitution. And many persons who believe you need a huge support from the National Assembly. Are they part of you? Will this ever fly? This will be a conversation we'll have some other time.
Okay, but let me quickly remind you.
We are totally out of time. Totally out of time.
It's all right.
Architect Okemegbodo, politician, public affairs analyst, and it's good to speak with you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Always my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Femi Ojo is my name. We make a return tomorrow for another fresh edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Please do well to have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. You will be glad you did. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, quite an insightful conversation right there. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition on Morning Spring. Emeka Daniel is my name. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.